Hello and welcome to Faithfully Stampin' with Jennifer Helm. I am Jennifer Helm, the Faithful Stamper, and I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. Today I have for you a sweet and simple card. Nothing fancy, no fancy folds, no complicated cutting techniques, but sometimes short and sweet is exactly what you need. That was definitely the kind of card I needed to put together this week. The kids are back in school, I've gone back to work full time, and life is just a little bit crazier, but I don't want my cards to be dull and boring, so a quick little paper cutting technique will give me a card that still makes me happy and presents a nice project to send to someone who could use a smile. So this is our card we're going to be making this evening. It features the beautiful Gallery Designer Series paper, which is found in our annual catalog. If you don't currently have a demonstrator you're working with and you would like a paper copy of our annual catalog or our brand new holiday mini, which just came out about a week ago, please feel free to get in touch. And if you're not a paper catalog kind of person and you are an online shopper, be sure to check out my website. That has all our products, our online exclusives, our kits, and just everything there is to see. And we have a last chance section as well, which is kind of our discounted products that are going away. So be sure to check that out from time to time. Sometimes you can get some really amazing deals. So let's go ahead and get started. So to start, we are going to take a piece of paper that has a pretty scene on it. It can be any kind of scene you want. You just need a piece that is 3 inches tall and 4.5 inches wide. And so what we're going to do, once we had this cut down from a 6x6 to be the size that I wanted, I am going to cut it into 4 strips. And so they're going to measure 3/4 of an inch by 4.5. So I'm going to cut long strips and just a couple cuts, and this will be ready to go. So 3/4 of an inch, and just a word to the wise, keep your strips in order as you cut. It will just make your life simpler. If you're using something that has more of a floral effect to it, sometimes the pieces are a little hard to distinguish. Ask me how I know. So just a little tip there. And I do believe that you could even use this technique with a kind of an all-over print. I didn't try it, but I don't see what it would hurt to do that if you don't have any papers with scenes. It's not like you're stuck, so give that a whirl. All right, so here are our lovely strips of paper. We are going to layer them on a piece of cardstock that is 3.5 by 4 3/4. This is basic beige. Incidentally, the idea for this card came from Sue's Paper Creations, and I definitely want to give her credit. This is not my original idea. I wish I could come up with these wonderful ideas, but I'm not that clever most of the time. And that's the wonderful thing about being a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, is we share all our ideas with each other. And we invite copying and sharing. So what I'm going to do is I just am going to lay these kind of generally on the piece of cardstock here. I promise, I always make it look harder on camera than it actually is. So if you've been to my page before, you know I am not a glue girl. I like my tape runners. So it may surprise you that I'm going to use glue this evening, but I have just found that it's nice to have a little flexibility when you're gluing your paper down to make them all fit, make them all come out even. So this is the one time you'll see me go for glue. So after I lay my pieces about where I want them, I'm just going to take a moment and flip them all over, keeping them in order. And again, this does not have to be perfection. Just, you want to kind of have them close to where you want them. It'll just make your life a little bit easier. And so I'm going to use our green glue, our Tombow multi-purpose glue, and put a little bit on each strip. Don't go overboard or you'll have glue coming out the sides and the edges, and that's definitely not something you want. So let me see if I can do this without making a mess. I'm going to start at the top. You can start at the top or the bottom. I find it a little difficult to start in the middle. Give yourself a nice little border, not too big of one, but you can see I can reposition because of the glue. And even after I get all 4 of these in place, the glue is still flexible enough that I can move the strips around. I'm not stuck. Whereas if I'd put this down with a tape runner, I'd probably have torn cardstock by now and ripped the DSP. So, as I mentioned, this is one of the few times you will see me with actual green glue. I can wiggle these down just a little bit. This is probably one of the better attempts at getting the paper straight. So, see? Anybody can do it. All right. So, we're going to leave this set to the side just for a minute to let those strips dry. It really does take hold pretty quick, but I like to just give it a minute. That way I don't invite disaster. So for our card tonight, we're going to use a card base of Mossy Meadow. This is 5.5 by 8.5, scored down the middle. You can use whichever style of card base you like for this card. There is not a particular one that works better than others. I feel a sneeze coming on. Always when I'm live on camera. So, what we're going to do is layer this first panel with our DSP scene on it to this second panel that is 3 7/8 of an inch by 5 1/8 of an inch. Now here you can use your liquid glue, you can use your tape runner. You could pop this layer with dimensionals if you wanted. I'm going to stick to one level of dimension, which you will see me get to in a moment. And this is Old Olive. So you can see I definitely pulled all the colors from the Designer Series paper. All right, so before I glue this to the front of the card, I'm going to add some ribbon. So you can skip the step if you don't have ribbon or you don't think it suits whatever paper you're using. So this is basic beige bordered ribbon. And let's see. I think I might try it on this side. So I'm just going to take my scissors and cut a piece of ribbon that's a little bit longer than the width that I need. And I'm actually going to add a bow as well. So I'm going to take a minute here. See how quickly I can do this. Tying bows is not my forte, but this ribbon is pretty easy and makes beautiful bows. Except I got a twist in there. Come on. Oh, I think I fixed it. There we go. Sometimes it takes me longer to fool with the bow than to do anything else. Does anybody else have that problem? All right, so trim my edges. All right. We'll put that on in just a minute. So my trick with ribbon, if you like to glue it on with adhesive or glue, more power to you. Again, I usually make a mess. So I'm going to turn my paper a little bit. I cheat and I put a piece of Scotch tape on the end of the ribbon and tuck it behind. And then I try to keep it straight. There we go. Not too bad. All right. So again, if you want to use glue or tape runner, please feel free. I'm going to pop this layer with dimensionals. I could glue it flat, or I could have popped up the other layer. Totally up to you. Let me pull out a new sheet of dimensionals here, and they're all tiny ones that I have handy at the moment. So I am going to add just a couple extra to this. I like making sure my project isn't going to sag in the middle. So I'm just going to peel the dimensional backers off these dimensionals. I've seen consultants that can use their pokey tool and whip right through them, and I do not have that skill. So if you have that skill, ooh, I'm jealous. Okay, so here we go. Just a nice border around and press that down. I'm going to use a glue dot and put my bow right on the glue dot. And let's see. I think I like it right there. All right, so the front of the card is almost complete. We'll get to that in a second. I'm just going to work on my envelope and the inside of my card quickly. So for the envelope, there is not a stamp set that coordinates as far as images goes. So I'm using the Textured Notes stamp set, and this little leafy image. I thought it was kind of a good general image to go with it. And then Thinking of You from Simply Said is my sentiment for the evening. And I'm using basic beige ink. It does look a little greeny. It tends to dry a little more subtle than it looks initially when you stamp. So there's my envelope done. Now for the inside of the card, I am going to use a piece of basic white. This is 5 1/4 by 4. I have a strip of paper that came off the outer edge of one of the papers I used. And since it coordinates well, I'm just going to lay that at the top for the moment. And then grab my Mossy Meadow ink and my sentiment stamp. Now this is photopolymer, so I can see that I've got enough ink through it. Through the stamp, I can see to line it up. Normally I would put foam underneath of it for a nice impression, but I took a risk there since it was just the one stamp. And incidentally, if you've not heard, Stampin' Up! Is moving away from the red rubber cling. Unfortunately, we are having trouble with suppliers, and so we are moving to the clear photopolymer stamps. They happen to be my favorite, so I'm not bemoaning too much. We are also going to have a change in packaging, so that will be rolling out closer to November, I believe. So some changes, but you gotta change, you gotta roll with the tide, right? Okay, so there, I just trimmed the edges of that strip of paper that I put on. And then a little adhesive on this. Into the card it goes. And I mentioned a moment ago that the card was almost finished. And my finishing touch is going to be some of our adhesive back texture dots. I love these because they have the little, almost looks like a, I say honeycomb, but they're probably just dots. But I really like them. So I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool here and add a few. I don't know what I did before my Take Your Pick tool. Probably had gems flung across the room and stuck to my fingernails. Because this little pointed piece, or you can use the spatula of your Take Your Pick tool, works beautifully. Okay, so there, minus all my talking, is our beautiful card tonight. So really is short and sweet. You just need to find a piece of paper, which sometimes for me takes me longer than anything. But it takes kind of your basic panel and just creates a new look for it, and without a lot of work. So I hope you like it. I do have some more samples to show you with this technique. I used a different piece of paper from the same Beautiful Gallery Designer Series paper pack. It is 6 by 6. So here we go. It's a beautiful paper pack. It has scenes. It has this little country scene. There's one of kind of the water in a boat. There's a kind of a picture with flowers in it, all kinds. So this is a beautiful pack of paper to use for this. But you can see same color scheme, the ribbon minus the bow over here, but totally different looks for the cards. The Beautiful Gallery is in our annual catalog, as well as the Thoughtful Journey paper pack. That is wonderful as well. And I believe there's one more. I think it's called Autumn Splendor. It obviously has some kind of autumnal colors and pictures, but anything with a scene on it would work lovely, I think. Here, I skipped the ribbon and added a banner instead, along with a little bit of bling. And this is a sympathy card, but beautifully stated, not over the top, but not boring either. And while I was putting these together, I thought, well, all the cards that I saw in this idea were in this orientation, the horizontal orientation, but I am one, if I can make a variety of cards with the same simple idea, I like to do it, but I don't want them to all be the same. So I switched it up and used the same measurements and just put the card together vertically. So all the measurements are the same, just pay attention to your paper when you are cutting the original piece out. So here, ribbon and embellishments. This one I added a die cut circle and a twine bow. So you can see kind of the difference you get from the papers depending on how you put them together. And last but not least, I went really dark as far as the color scheme on this one, but this is probably my favorite. Added some linen thread and embellishments and a twine bow as well. One thing I like to do, this is a double twine bow. I like them better than the single bows. I just think it pops a little bit. But since I had multiple layers of the linen thread here, I actually did a triple bow. It's a little fussy sometimes, but beautiful when it's finished. And the bows are just all attached with glue dots. So there is our quick and simple scene card cut into strips. Doesn't have an official name. I'll have to come up with that. But thank you to Sue's Paper Creations for a wonderfully simple idea that I can share with you. If you haven't already subscribed to the YouTube channel, I would be happy to have you as a subscriber here. You can click that notification bell and receive a little ding each time a video is posted on the page. You can also find me over on Facebook as The Faithful Stamper. I share information about classes that I offer in my area, and most of the time there's a kit option in case you are not local to me in Maryland. Also, I share more information about our paper pumpkin kits, our monthly kits, and specials that are happening with the company. So be sure to check that out. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you really enjoyed the card. Take care and happy crafting.